Hi, I'm John Stuart Hill, founder of the Good Contractors List, and I am here with Chris Long, one of my most long-standing members of the Good Contractors List. Chris is with Long's Windows, and man, you were one of those early believers in the Good Contractors List concept, and from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you for that. It was people like you who could see ahead and go, this is something I want to be a part of. What was it about the Good Contractors List that made you decide, even back then, before we were even established, that y'all wanted to be a part of it?
Well, it was a concept of your contractors that really drew me in. It was contractors that were established. You didn't want the big guys to where the customers were just a number. Customer service was very important to you in your choice of contractors. Mm-hmm. And, well, of course, backing us with a $10,000 guarantee was pretty enticing.
Yeah.
But just your business model and your concept of what you wanted your contractors to be, it fit with us really well.
Yeah, and it really was a good fit because I remember you run into so many different kinds of contractors out there, and whenever we're talking about windows, one of the things that I found very quickly when just talking to different kinds of window companies, where there's a lot of really high pressure things going on in the window industry. And what I loved about you and your family in general, because by the way, Long's Windows is a family operated business. They were what I loved about it was that y'all just had this different philosophy than most in this window world that I was now finding out. Mm-hmm. And what do you think is one of the leading issues in the window industry as far as like companies and ones to look out for? Like what are those what things do they do that you want to watch out for?
Well, first off, if they absolutely say that both parties have to be home, to give a quote,
right.
It's a little. I mean, I never go into a quote expecting that person to sign that day. I don't, because I'm not going to do that.
Right.
If I'm making a decision for my home that's costing thousands of dollars, I'm going to weigh my options, and even if I think I'm getting a great deal, or if I know I'm getting a great deal, mm-hmm. I'm still going to sleep on it. Yeah. I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to make a decision informed. So I don't expect people to sign that day. Mm-hmm. And most of those companies, if they want you both there to make the decision, it's because they don't expect to leave the house without your signature.
That's such a good point.
They always come in with high prices, high pressure, huge discounts, or somewhat appear to be huge discounts. And I don't want to be treated that way, so I don't treat people that way myself.
Man, I tell you, we've had a really, really good conversation here today, and this is the first time I've ever heard about of this in the window industry. And a lot of people might look and go, "Oh man, really?" But it was like, Chris does not do discounts. It's like, well, you don't have a senior discount, or you don't have this discount, and I'm like, I was kind of sitting there going, yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. But Chris turned around and said, he's like, if I can knock 50% off of my rate or 20% off of my rate, then my rates were too high in the first place. Mm-hmm. I never considered that or thought about that. But Chris comes in, and I mean, he was explaining to me that if you beat his price, then you're using an inferior product, or you're just like on such bare minimums that you're not. If something bad happened, you're not getting it fixed. Is that kind of?
That's been the case, because I have been beat over the years, even with the same exact product. Those companies aren't around, or that salesman for a large company is no longer there.
Because he was selling way too cheap.
Yeah, because he was selling too cheap for that
lost
company.
Money.
And it's like, to be honest with you, I don't build enough into my pricing to even give a 10% discount.
Yeah.
If I can't get what I'm asking, then I can't do the job.
Right.
And the thing is with me is, you're getting the price, fair and honest price from me the first time. Because I'm not going to build anything extra into it. You may find a less expensive product, which happens all the time, and I don't blame anybody for going for a less expensive product.
Sure.
But you need to always look at the full picture to see what's going on there.
Well, do you sell products that are less expensive?
I do also, and usually with every quote, I will give more than one price point to try to fit somebody's budget. Problem I do run into every once in a while, though, is people will say, well, your less expensive window was the same price as that company's most expensive window. And I'm like, well, it's probably because they were very equivalent windows.
Yeah, right.
I just don't have the cheap window that they quoted as their less expensive window.
Right.
And
So you try to stick with quality windows from the low end to the high end. Like you're not really just out there to sell something that you know is not going to be.
No, because to be honest with you, when I'm done with your job, I don't want to have to come back.
That's why you can build in the price and say this is the price and without a discount, because a lot of people already expect that they're going to have so many issues that they're going to have to come back out. And your deal is when I leave, you're going to be happy and you're going to remain happy, right?
Yeah. I mean, I want to see you again at the grocery store,
right,
at a home show,
right,
or wherever, but I don't want you having to call me on the phone saying you're having issues with your windows, because neither one of us are going to be happy with that. Now, obviously, I'm going to cheerfully take care of it.
Right.
I don't bail on my customers at all. I'm there and
I know
for
this
the long
about
haul.
you.
But I don't want to lose money.
Right.
And if I'm coming to your house having to fix issues, I'm losing money. There's just no way around it.
Yeah. And I can tell you, he is one of my first contractors. The Long's Windows came on before I think I even had a website. I mean, we were just talking about building this group of contractors with high integrity that, that did business right. And they immediately caught on and said, I want to be a part of that group, And so as long as these guys have been on my list, we started this back in 2011, I've not had one issue, not one problem have we ever had to try to fix for you. We had one homeowner that was trying to take advantage of you. I remember, like early in you probably remember them.
Very well.
We have a very long relationship, guys. So we've went through growth stages and all kinds of stuff, but I have never ever once had an issue that he was ever done anything wrong. And in this industry, the window industry, it's scary. I mean, but I want to talk a little bit about this because the truth of the matter is that sometimes homeowners don't do what they're supposed to do. I mean, they try to take advantage of contractors, and so we had this interaction. Let's talk about this just for a minute. I mean, we don't have to mention names or what it was about, but tell me this story. Tell me what one of our first interactions is. You've actually called me on this one.
I had a homeowner who we were installing windows for. They had moved into the home probably a month or so prior. They hadn't been there very long. They had some floor work done. They had some concrete staining done on their floor. And we came in, and we do not bring the windows into the home. The windows, I mean, we have to work inside the house, but the windows don't come into the house. They get put in from the exterior. But this homeowner was accusing us of messing up their floors. And from what they were explaining to me and from what they were showing me, it wasn't correct. I called John out. He got a hold of his concrete guy, his concrete staining guy. They came out with me, and then these people started pulling up rugs in the middle of the floor away from the wall, and moving furniture, pulling rugs up and showing all this stuff that we supposedly did when the furniture was sitting on top of it the whole time.
Yeah.
And they had a bad experience with the person who they went into the story telling us about the first guy that they fired and then hiring the second guy. They didn't finish paying the first guy, and then the second guy they still owed money to. And then, fortunately, unfortunately, they didn't finish paying me. But John did step in. They were trying to get the $10,000. That's what they wanted. Mm-hmm. And you had our back. You told them if they finished paying me. Now they agreed that we had finished the job, that we had done a good job on the windows,
and it was fantastic. The windows looked perfect.
They agreed to that. They just said we messed up their floors. But looking at it, it was impossible. We didn't do the damage that they were claiming, and John had wrote them back and told them if they finished paying me what they owed me, that you would help them go back to the floor company and get the job fixed. Mm-hmm. I don't think either one of us ever heard from them again.
We didn't. And the reason I'm bringing this up is even the most upstanding contractor will run across people who want to take advantage of a situation. In this particular case, the last contractor left them high and dry. And because of how they were dealing with them, they were not being honest even with them at that time. They knew it was trouble, so they just quit, and they weren't going to get paid anyway. So they just left. And unfortunately, sometimes when you follow behind somebody who's not done a good job closing the end product, you end up taking on the brunt of the bad contractors thing, which is why the Good Contractors List is important on both sides, because we as the Good Contractors List are here to be the voice of truth between homeowners and contractors. That's our goal. So we have to have contractors that we can believe in, that whenever they say, John, this thing isn't right, that we can go out there and not feel like we're going to be hung out to dry because you're being dishonest. So not everybody that complains against a contractor on reviews is in the right. I'll just say that. Reviews are not a good way to hire contractors. They can be beefed up, and a lot of times even the good contractors can have a bad review that is unmerited, unwarranted. And this is exactly the thing. You are going to find with Chris and with Long's Windows an honest company that will back their work, that doesn't inflate things and show you something that they can start knocking prices down so that they can win your business. That's not what you're about. You have been honest as the day is long, and I wanted just to say, because of this interaction, I got to work with Chris, and all he wanted to do was make that person happy. That was what he hated that they got taken advantage of. He was kind to them, and they still ended up taking advantage of him. They never did pay you, did they? No. And he did not try to sue them. he didn't do any of that stuff. He just took it as a this is a hit, unfortunately, and so I know his heart. He is going to do a great job for you. He is going to do it right. I've seen your work. It's impeccable. You don't leave something half done, and you're going to really do your best to take care of the people's property and take care of the people. You like you said, you want to be the guy that they can look at the grocery store and have good feelings toward and come up and give you a hug.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we put our name on the company.
Yeah.
Not because we think so much of us and, hey, look at us, we're Longs.
Right.
Because it holds you accountable. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if I decide that I want to change the name of the company to, Long's reputations get dragged through the mud, okay, and I need to change my name, I still have to go to a house and say, hi, I'm Chris Long. Mm-hmm. And if, bad reviews are out there and people are angry and I've got all kinds of customers that I've taken advantage of, that's going to follow me no matter what.
Yeah, that's right.
So
It's too
putting,
easy.
Putting our name as the name of the business, to us was a way of safeguarding that. I have to keep that. I have to keep that clean.
Well, and you and your dad started this company.
Yes.
You know, back in 2003, you worked for a window company, and you knew what you were doing. And then you moved here, and this is another thing that I just thought was the coolest story, and it may not have much to do with windows in general, but it has to do with your faith. So tell me the story about how you ended up in Texas.
Well, I was working 2 full-time jobs to make ends meet where I was at.
In California.
In California, yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get away from that. I wanted to work one job. I had 2 young kids at the time. Didn't know really either one of them because I was working 16 hours a day.
Yeah, that's awful.
And we'd been praying how, this, for relief, basically. Not necessarily knowing how that was going to come, whether it be another job, I wasn't expecting to move. I wasn't expecting. But God told us to move to North Richland Hills, Texas, and start a window company. I kind of wanted to go to another place myself. That's one I picked out.
That was Colorado, right?
It was Colorado. A little hot here. It's still a little hot here.
It's way hot here.
I like the colder weather, even though I grew up in the heat, just north of the river up here. I wanted someplace cooler, but God literally said North Richland Hills, Texas, and that's where we ended up coming to.
And what he didn't tell you is that he had never heard of North Richland Hills, Texas. He actually had to go get a map, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
He had to go get a map, and this is the early 2000s. I mean, the internet was there, but you went and got a map, right?
Yes. Yeah, I got a map of the DFW area because I didn't know where North Richland Hills was. He didn't say Fort Worth.
Right, that would have been an easy one.
Yeah, that would have been a lot easier. I knew where Fort Worth was. Growing up in Oklahoma, I knew exactly where Fort Worth was, but he didn't say Fort Worth. He said North Richland Hills. Not Richland Hills either, by the way. He said North Richland
Hills.
I have no idea why.
It blows my mind. I love that.
But it's history.
So when you saw it, it was just like, I've got to go. This actually exists. This is North Richland Hills thing.
Yeah.
So he's been here. I actually met his family. Man, it's been well over 10 years ago that I met your family. Your dad actually, and was back then I was working. I believe I was in Yellow Pages maybe back then, and I was building websites on the side. And I talked to him about building a website for you guys. And when I first, and after I started the Good Contractors List, I remembered how sweet this guy was, just how knowledgeable he was, and so I really met your dad first, and then I met you. These guys are just the honest guys. I can't stress enough, because I've built a relationship with these guys over the years. They're gonna do you right. They're gonna charge you the right amount of money for a quality product. They're not gonna leave you with some junk and be embarrassed to see you whenever you go to the grocery store. These guys are family to us. We love them. And I hope that they're always going to be on the Good Contractors List as long as we can be around. You can find them at Longs with an S windows.com. That's longswindows.com. Or you will always, as long as they want to be a part of our family, we want you to be a part of ours, and you'll find them on the goodcontractorslist.com. Thanks, Chris.
Sure.
If the job's not right, we'll get it